Okay, so I'm recording now. I'll edit this part out too, and I'll just have it start at the introduction. Alrighty. So, hi, good afternoon, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are. Welcome to this episode of Sis, It's Just Not God's Best for You, Self-Actualize and Shine podcast show with me, your host, Cinquetta Wilkes. And today we will be discussing narcissism. Now, you know that's a big topic. You see people tweet about it, post about it, you see blogs about it, it's in the media, it's on TV. So this time we're going to have a discussion about it with a psychologist, y'all. See, like, look what I did. You know what I mean? Like, people talk about this stuff, but I have someone here that is studying it, and that is our guest, Yaye Diallo. So I just want to tell you guys a little bit more about Yaye. She is an associate marriage and family therapist based in Los Angeles, California. You know where all the rich people be? She's there. A master's degree in clinical psychology, specializing in marriage and family therapy. And, you know, as a therapist, Yaye works with other young individuals like us, you know, between the ages of 18 and 26-year-olds. So basically, in a nutshell, Yaye helps individuals work through substance abuse, their childhood trauma, PTSD, anxiety, depression, you name it, that's your girl. If you want to get your mental health in check, Yaye is the person you want to talk to. So with that being said, like Yaye, she agrees that like once you have a good psychological well-being, like everything else in your life falls in place. And that is the case, like that's what I believe here at Sis, It's Just Not God's Best for You podcast. So this is why we decided to have Yaye as a guest today. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our special guest, Yaye Diallo.
Yay! Well, thank you for welcoming me. I appreciate it.
Of course, of course. Thank you for coming on our podcast show, talking to us about this. I won't say it's an issue, but I definitely feel like it's a hot topic in social media culture and also like culture in general. Do you agree?
Yes, it's definitely very important because I feel like everybody has dealt with a narcissist, even if they don't know exactly what it is, but they definitely have dealt with it. I think the percentage is very, very high out here.
Wow. I think so too. So for people that may not be, you know, as smart as you, or I'll say who have studied this in depth as you have, can you give us like a normal definition of what narcissism is in your own words? You know, we know the fancy kind of like, you know, Google version, but can you tell us what narcissism is in your words?
Yes, I believe, well, from what I've known and from what I saw and from what I basically studied, pretty much a narcissist really stems from shame. Someone that has a lot of shame built up, you know, and now they grow up into this person where they're like, okay, I'm better than you now. Now I get to be the boss. You get what I mean? Now it's like my way or the highway. You get what I mean? So it's like everything they do, they never have any accountability for it. They blame the next person for the reason why they react the way they react, or the reason why they treat you the way they treat you. It's always your fault, it's never them. And also a narcissist, everything comes back to them, how special they are. Very, very egocentric. Like everything is like based on their ego, and it's like very, very, very high, grandiose. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. All right. So can you help us, what is the difference between, I guess, like being a narcissist and being like confident? Like, I feel like a little bit they can kind of overlap, or it kind of sounds like the same thing. Like some people like, oh, she must be a narcissist because she's into herself, but maybe she's not. She's just confident, or he or she. So is there like a difference? Is narcissism like kind of your way to into yourself? Like, how can you tell the difference?
I believe that someone that's confident is more of a healthier aspect of it. Like you can be confident on like, okay, I believe in myself. I know that I'm a boss. I know that I can take care of situations. How come it doesn't affect though another person? When someone is a narcissist, it actually affects a person, other people that they have around them. They have people, they belittle other people. Because you can be confident and really be confident on your own will. You get what I mean? But someone that's a narcissist will put other people down, drain their energy, suck up their energy so they can have that energy for themselves, because they're really deep down inside. They have a lot of shame. And they're not very content, and they really want to be liked. That's the thing. Wow. They really want to be liked, deep rooted. You get what I mean? So it's Yeah, so it's like at the end of the day, they just looking for validation, but they're looking for validation on putting other people down.
Interesting. So if someone is a narcissist and is dealing with shame, is there any way that they can kind of work through that? Do you have any suggestions? Like, if a person that's listening is a narcissist, like how can they work through that shame that they could possibly be feeling within themselves?
I feel like a lot of that stuff, it comes with talk therapy, like just having therapy. And with that aspect of it, is like you just going deep diving into your childhood and your childhood trauma, because you got to understand a lot of this stuff, like I said, is things from shame. So where is shame developed when you're a child? You don't know anything. You see mom and dad arguing and you blame yourself for it. Mind you, it's not really your fault. It's just really mom and dad having a conversation and they have a disagreement. But as a kid, little you say, oh, mom and dad is getting a divorce because of me. Mm-hmm. Or you maybe have that parent that like always, both of your parents always want you to have straight A's all the time. The time that young Billy get a C. Oh, Billy, why did you get a C? You a straight A student. Even though a C, like technically, it's not that bad. Let's be real, right. But the parent already put them in that pedestal as far as like, oh, you have straight A's and now you have a C. So in their mind, they're a failure. And I'm going to make sure that I'm never going to be a failure again. Even if I feel like I'm a failure deep inside, I'm going to prove to the world that I'm not a failure. Mm-hmm. Wow. And that goes with the emotions that comes with that.
That's deep. So I heard you mention talk therapy. Yeah. There is a stigma. I won't even say in the Black community, but maybe like just in general. Like people have a fear of therapists. They think that like, oh, it must be something wrong with me if I'm seeking out help, as far as like, hiring somebody or working with a psychologist. So can you like talk to us a little bit more about how to like defeat that stereotype and maybe like talk about the stigma that's around therapy that like, that we may believe, but it's really not that true?
Yeah, I feel like with us, especially like the African American population, a lot of us look at our situation as far as like, oh, it's a stigma, or you're crazy if you have depression. But everybody has experienced depression one point in their life. Mm-hmm. That is not a myth. Mm-hmm. Everybody has experienced depression. Some people have experienced it longer than others. Some people it's very, very short term, but at the end of the day, everybody has experienced it. And with us in our African American community is the fact that when they look at that, they're like, oh, you're crazy, or you shouldn't feel like this. You're strong, because they go through this, like, remember our ancestors and everything like that. When we look at that, we're like, oh, our ancestors were strong. And it's all like a systematic, like, racism and impact on that too, for the simple fact that, like, Black women, for example, we're the first women that was sorry, my language, but we're the first people that were tested when it comes down to the gynecologist. Mm-hmm. You get what I mean? They tested it on us because guess what? They said, oh, Black women, we take more pain compared to the white woman, because the white woman is delicate, according to them. So we already put that stigma right there that like, oh, we can't talk about our problems. Whatever we have right there, we could just talk about it in our house and that's it. Yeah. But no, it's very important to step outside of your comfort zone. Even people that grew up in the hood, like, where we come from, even people that grew up in the hood, they have to walk out the door, always have to have a gun on their pocket. They're walking left, right, trying to look at every sideway view that they can look, because they're trying to, they want to feel like they're pretty much afraid. Let's be real. Mm-hmm. Down inside, like they're very afraid. They have fear, which is a primary emotion. Mm-hmm. And with that primary emotion comes a secondary emotion, which is anger, which is panic, which is all those other things. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like they have a lot of anxiety. They're very afraid. They see their homie get gunned down. Mm-hmm. And you think that that person's supposed to wake up the next day, drink a cup of coffee, and live a normal life? Let's be real here. This shit is traumatic.
Mm-hmm. And you're right. I feel like as a community, as a culture, they just expect you to just shake it off. You know what I mean? Like, step out of it. You'll be okay. We're not allowed to express our emotions or talk about our feelings or, even cry or, show emotions. Just, I don't know. People think that like sharing your emotions is a sign of weakness. But you ask me, it's a sign of strength to get it out there, get over that.
Out. Because even imagine like what they tell the young boys. Oh, young boy fall off the bike. Get up. Stop acting like a girl.
Mm-hmm.
They're already blocking them. He can cry.
Mm-hmm.
We're human beings at the end of the day. We all cry. You get what I mean? But they're already like putting those emotions to the side.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, no, you don't do that because you're not a man if you cry.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why a lot of men nowadays, especially predominantly African American men, grow up and they have no really emotional ties. Like they're not really vulnerable. As human beings, women is not the only people that needs to be vulnerable. Men can be vulnerable as well. It's okay for men to be vulnerable because vulnerability shows emotions. And that's one thing that all human beings have. We have emotions. I don't care if you're black, white, Chinese, blue, green, whatever. We have emotions, underlying emotions.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I do. I like what you said. It makes me think like pain is like the universal language. Kind of like you said, no matter what color, your background, none of that stuff matters. Kind of like you also said too in the beginning. Everybody one time or another has dealt with depression. You know what I mean? So it makes you human. Like welcome to the real world. You're not Superman or Superwoman if you shut down and you just act like you're so tough and you're not in touch with your emotions. Like no, I think vulnerability is really strength, to tell what's going on with you. Because I don't know if you know, or I feel like I've read this or heard this, but I heard that that's kind of where like cancer comes from, because you're keeping all those emotions bottled in your body and it's not getting out. You know what I mean? So like I heard that's why women get like breast cancer. Of course, it's about eating and all that other stuff too. Here it's also about like sometimes your emotions. You know what I mean? If you're not crying, if you're not talking that stuff out, it got to go somewhere. That energy has to go somewhere. And most of the time it's just like in your body, like you're carrying it on you. So that's why talk about it, speak on it.
Yeah, because it's bottled up into the point where one day it just explode. And a lot of times, I say probably 9 times out of 10, it explode on the wrong people. You get what I mean? Like you keep a bottled inside. Imagine someone hurting you or someone doing stuff to you and you just keep it in. Like, okay, I'm fine. I can do this. No, it's best to like just say it. That's like you. Sorry, I'm about to use like a reference that's probably like crazy, but I'm just being real. So imagine like someone that's like eating all the time, right? And like every time they have to go to the bathroom, they don't. And they just keep it held in and they keep it held. One day, this shit is not you're gonna be sick, pretty much.
Yep.
Because of holding it in for so much. So it's best for you to just like let it go as it comes. If someone pisses you off today, be like, okay, maybe you can take time to marinate on it and see how you're gonna approach the conversation, because you don't want to just react out of impulse. However, it's okay to speak your mind and say how you feel. That's only going to be conducive and beneficial for you in the long run, rather than keeping it all in yourself and thinking, oh, you got it, because they have put you in this world to be such a strong person. Everybody that's strong also have a weakness. Let's be real.
Okay. So I like what you said about that. Like basically keeping it all in can keep you sick. Well, can make you sick. You know what I mean? So what if, we're convincing that one person, maybe they didn't want to go to therapy, but now we're talking about it and they're like, oh, okay, I want to go. But what if they think like, I don't have a lot of money. We're going through this lockdown, quarantine, some people don't have jobs, some people don't have money like that. They want to go to therapy, but is it affordable to like go to therapists, or are there affordable options for people that are seeking out like therapists or like a psychologist, in your opinion?
I feel like a lot of those situations you have to do your research, but I know for sure that there's a lot of therapists out there that do a sliding scale. So they go through how much the person make and how much the person can spend. And then they go through that. And then there's also insurances that take care of that too. But if you're looking for a high-end therapist, I'm sure there's people out there that's going to charge a lot more money. There's also people that's also starting to, that's like trying to get like their clinical hours per se, but they still have the knowledge. They might not be as far as like saucier than the other ones, because the other one has been there longer, you know what I mean? But they're still got the concept of the situation. So you can definitely get therapists out there with a sliding scale based on how much you're bringing in and things of such.
Okay. So that's good to know. So, ladies and gentlemen out there, therapy is affordable for you. You can do your research, you can go online, figure it out, find somebody out there that can help you based off of your like income situation. So it is something doable. Like, don't I feel like that is a stigma. People just feel like you see therapy being done on TV or like, so you think it's like a rich people thing, you know? So I was just curious. So I'm glad that you were able to help us figure that out.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
Thank you about that. So, can you talk a little bit more about narcissism? You know, I think that's very, very, very juicy. I think that's very interesting how you brought up shame. So, why do you think people find themselves in relationship with narcissists? You know, if relationships should be 50-50. So why do you think like a person will want to or find themselves being with a narcissist if they're all about themselves? So what draws a person to a narcissist, or what's your thoughts on that?
So the crazy thing about narcissism or people that have narcissistic personality disorder is that they come out very charming, right? So you might see a guy very, very suave on a corner, just like looking, and he knows how to approach you, say the right things, because at the end of the day, everything is calculative. Like these people calculate everything. Like for example, like R. Kelly, he knows how to pick the weakest link out of all these people in his concert, right? He knew exactly who to put his eye on. They always go for people that have codependencies, abandonment issues, daddy issues, like people that also like you could, because people think that like, oh, you can see someone that's like very confident walking in a room, like, oh, this person's confident, but you can also see someone that's like doesn't have confidence walk into a room. Especially for people that are narcissistic, because they prey on that, because they have a strategy and they already see that, so they already can be like, oh yeah, I know who my target is, I know who I'm about to go, because I know that's what I'm going to get, and I know I can pull that shit on her, if you get what I mean. So with a narcissist, they already prey on it, they already see. It's like a predator and a prey. It's like, oh, I see her, this person look like she has these abandonment issues, and come to find out, a lot of people anyway, especially in all Black African American community, a lot of females have abandonment issues to a certain extent. Let's be real. You get what I mean? So it's like, and that's just, people have abandonment issues, period. In a certain way in your life, you've been abandoned in a way, because even me, like, to be honest, like, I was born in Africa. However, I had a semi-abandonment issues where my mom came to America. But she came for the betterment of myself. But in my mind as a kid, 8-year-old, 7-year-old Yaye, I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking I'm being abandoned. So it sticks with me. You get what I mean? So I feel like a lot of people that are narcissists, they always go for people that are codependent.
Okay. Codependent. Like, I feel like I know what that word means, but can you give an example of that? Just, so I'm not confused.
Yeah, basically people that have codependency is like people that just can't be alone. People that always they need the approval of other people. They need other people to feel validated.
Okay.
It's like they just can't be alone. They rather deal with. So this is someone, right? An example of someone that's codependency. They rather deal with a female, right? Say a female per se has codependency, right? She rather deal with a man, right? That beats her up every night, treats her like shit, pretty much, right? But for the simple fact that he's with her, she's okay. You get what I mean? Despite all those unhealthy traits that this person is portraying, and this person has actually showed you that he's literally unhealthy for you or conducive for you, right? But she's rather deal with that because she does not want to be alone.
Ooh, okay.
So people that are narcissistic, they know how to pick the right mates. They pick the people that are codependent. Because no matter what I do to you, you're always going to be here. Because you need me. And you need me more than I need you. But I actually really need you too, though. You get what I mean?
Yeah. They get something out of it too.
I get something out of narcissist. Like, I get something out of it. But I like the feeling of being needed though, because I'm the head honcho. I'm the one that's the star of the Sprangle banner. I'm the one that walks around here like I'm the, I'm the one that everybody should be waving up and clapping to me.
Mm-hmm. But they're really
like a sick, twisted, fantasy, weird. Yeah. It's not healthy. Either way, both of parts is not healthy at all.
mm-hmm.
Nobody came to their self, like their full self.
Wow.
There's a lot of trauma.
So it sounds like to me, if you want to avoid a narcissist, it's best to maybe like deal with your childhood trauma first and have confidence in yourself as an individual first. So you say they kind of target the people that, have abandonment issues or probably don't feel all that good about themselves, So.
Yeah, because even anything, it's like important to be independent, right? Of course, we all walk around here like, oh, we want to be independent, but it's very important to be interdependent. Mm-hmm. You get what I mean? So when you get into a relationship with someone, like you both can handle your own things, right? But you guys can also come together as a force and be interdependent. Mm-hmm. But don't be codependent where it's like you can't even put your views or you can't even say anything at this point because you're just so worried about this person and this person's happiness and you forget about your own.
Interesting. Yeah. This is good. So, it's good to always kind of have your own individuality. They said it shouldn't be two half people coming together to make a whole. It should be two whole people coming together to make something like that. So that's interesting. That's a really, really good point. So if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, how can you move on from a narcissist relationship? Or should you move on? Should you tell the person? Will they get mad? Do you quiet from them? Or how would you go about if
the phone is going out?
Oh, really? Can you hear me now?
No.
I feel like I'm still connected to the internet though. You still don't hear nothing?
I hear you now.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So my other question just was someone can hear us talking right now, talking about narcissism, and they could be dealing with a narcissist. So how do they move on from a narcissist? Do they pick up and leave and go? Do they tell the person? Do they confront the person? Or how would they go about,
I just feel like in that situation, it really just come with yourself. And if you feel like you're tired, because at the end of the day, people can tell you all the time, oh, this person is a narcissist. Why are you still with them? But some way, somehow, you're still mentally connected to that person because this is what you know and this is what you became comfortable with. So it's stepping outside of your comfortability. Okay. Outside of your comfort zone. Doing something that's different because, every time, even us as humans, right? Think about it. When we do something that's different from our norm, we feel uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. So in that situation, it became their norm. This is what they're used to living with. They've been living with this for probably a while and they become adapted to it. But now it's time to step outside of that comfortability. Let that hurt a little bit. Be okay. Understand that I can hurt because it's an emotion and every human's deal with that. Because people are afraid with emotions. That's why a lot of people go and submit to drugs and other things like that to make them bear that emotion because they don't really want to feel what's the primary emotion, what's inside, the fear, the anxiety, the neglect, the abandonment, all those things. You know what I mean? So it's I feel like just to be able to deal with those emotions and understand that this is what happens to humans. We're meant to feel. If you fall right now and you broke your ankle, the first thing you do is grab your ankle because you want to protect that ankle. For it to not get hurt anymore. You see how it happens subconsciously though? Like say if you walk around right now and you fell, you broke your ankle. The first thing you're gonna do is gonna grab your ankle. You're not gonna grab your arm. The first thing you do is grab your ankle. Because you want to protect the ankle because you don't want it to get hurt anymore because it's already hurt right now. So I think that's how people need to look at it as. It's like, yes, you're in a situation, pretty bad situation. You got comfortable with the situation, but is this really the situation that you want to live with for the rest of your life? Is this where you want to see yourself 5 years, whatever pain you're going through right now? Would you rather go through this pain and continue to have this pain for the rest of your life? Or would you rather have step out, deal with the real core emotions, and then finally get healthy and find better for yourself?
Oh my gosh, I love that. You touched on a lot of good things. I like the fact that you said that, being a human, you're going to hurt. And I think that's what a lot of people run away from. Like, you don't want to deal with the hurt. And like you said, so sometimes people run to drugs and stuff like that just to not confront that feeling. But, anybody that's listening to this and they feel like they're in that situation, I think you should just feel the fear and do it anyway. That's a book title. Like, I remember seeing, so I can make that up, but it's just like, go towards the pain. And I feel like understand that you'll be okay. You know what I mean? Like, you probably think that like it may be worse than what it could be, but just walking towards it is a part of the process, and you become stronger. And I also like what you said about stepping outside of your comfort zone. You know what I mean? Like, when you do something that's outside of your comfort zone, at first it does feel scary, but then after a while, like, you get confidence in yourself because you try something new. Like, you know what I mean? You learn to rely on yourself. So I really think that's very, very important.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So that was a good point. So is there anything else you want to let us know about narcissism? Any final thoughts on this? If someone's dealing with a narcissist, should they go and seek therapy, or any closing remarks?
I feel like at the end of the day, if you're dealing with a narcissist, someone that's narcissist, it's like for you to be able to point it out, for you to be able to see these patterns, and if it's you got to be able to see if it's conducive for you at the end of the day. One thing it is, everybody's different, like how I live my life is different from how you live your life and how the next person lived their life. So it's what you can tolerate and what you won't tolerate. So once you get to a point in your life when you don't want to tolerate it, then you're going to start making the right moves that's beneficial for yourself.
I like that. Very, very true. And you kind of made me think about this too when you were talking. Remember when you were just like, yeah, people that deal with narcissists, it has become familiar to them. It's become comfortable to them. Do you think that some people that find themselves in narcissistic relationships, maybe they had like a parent that was a narcissist, or like a family member, and that's maybe why they're like, I don't know, maybe dealing with it in their adult life, or when they're in a relationship with somebody, because maybe it's something that they've been familiar with it for a long time.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like, yes, it's definitely possible that a kid grew up in a household where their dad was a narcissist and the mom had codependency issues, and like grew up, and the child probably felt like this is a norm, this is okay, because even in my new relationship, I want to deal with that. Like, for example, right, I know someone, right, she grew up in a household where the mom was more of like the dominant one. The mom was more of the one that could possibly be narcissist. I don't know the mom, so I'm just speaking hypothetically. But the dad was more of the codependent, because when mom would get angry and mom would be like, oh no, F you, I don't want to be with you, dad would be crawling on 4 knees begging for mom. And she saw that though as like, ugh, I don't want my man, like, I want my man to be a man. You get what I mean? But in her mind now, she see that and she grow up and she goes for the wrong man, because she thinks that she wants her man to be a man, because she wants her man to be more manner than her dad, more of a man than her dad. However, he becomes a whole total opposite of a narcissist, and not even someone that can be in control, but someone that actually wants to be in control all the time. It's like, it's my way or the highway, rather than healthy control, if you get what I mean. Because you can get a man you can be submissive. A female can be submissive in a relationship. You can have a healthy relationship where you can be submissive, and you can have a man that's in control, but in a healthier way.
Right.
Because there's some men out there which are narcissists. They would take the word control and take it to a whole other aspect now. Because then they have to control everything you do, because what you do does not matter. What they do is what's more important.
Wow. Okay, so I feel like that's a good point, or a good thing to realize too about narcissists. Like, it seems like you will be in a one-sided relationship. I don't know if that may be a clue, but I feel like when you're dealing with a narcissist, it sounds like it's all about them.
Nothing about you.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is a sign. If you feel like you're in like a 90-10 relationship instead of a 50-50 relationship, you're probably dealing with a narcissist. And I guess that would be in any aspect of your life too, kind of like a parent to child. Like, I feel like it can just go across the board, not even in like a boyfriend girlfriend relationship or anything like that, but you can also deal with people like that. It could be a friendship. You could be like a friend with a narcissist, and
Yeah.
crazy.
Definitely, narcissism is where everybody, a friend, a mother, a dad, a son, a girl, a daughter, it's everywhere. It's like that's just, but a lot of those personality characteristic anyway is already stems from shame. You got to think about that. Even when a parent, let's talk about the parents, even when the parents, they're too hard, they go to the games every time and their child win, but one time that child lose that game, oh, Billy, you should have did better. That already brings shame in them. Like, damn, like, I got all these games and I succeeded, but I did one time I didn't do right and I should have done. They always want to be perfectionist.
That's another good sign. That's another good sign. Like, you just,
the perfectionist part of it.
Yeah, it's making me think of some narcissists. Like, I know people that think like that want everything to be perfect, but I never thought like, oh, they could be dealing with some sort of trauma or some shame in their life. Like, this is interesting. So really, the narcissist, although, we paint them out as a bad guy and like culture and society, they're actually like I don't want to say a victim, but kind of are. You know what I mean? Like,
they're hurt, right? And
yeah.
I get it. But at the end of the day, what your mama did doesn't mean that your girlfriend did it to you. So don't take it out on her. You get what I mean? Deal with your shit, pretty much.
Okay.
So what people did with you when you were growing up, what happened in your childhood does not mean that the person that you're dealing with right now is doing that to you currently. So why are you taking what happens in your childhood onto them? That's not fair for them either. So you got to deal with your shit.
Okay. And that was going to be my next question too, but I feel like you answered it. So if you are a narcissist, I was going to say, if you realize you're a narcissist, you listen to our conversation, like, dang, that's kind of me. How do you stop being a narcissist? And what you're saying is basically therapy, talk therapy, and start dealing with your childhood, like unpacking all that stuff that, I guess causing you to act this way.
Pretty much, just literally dissecting everything, seeing where all that shame started, because clearly it starts from shame. So figure out where that shame started. How did you feel when that shame happened to you? And is the shame accurate right now in your life right now? Or you decided to bring it along with you? Or do you want to put a stop to it? So your kids won't have that effect on it. Because at the end of the day, we all have a chance to break our generational curse.
Wow. I love that. Very, very true. I feel like the buck stops with me. Like, I just want to kind of deal with my stuff too. So I don't have to pass this down to my children and my children's children. You know what I mean? I'm ready to just go through the hurt with it. You know what I mean? Because I just feel like that's my duty, like you said, to break generational curses. So I like that you said that. Yeah. All right. So I think you did have a little, you already told us the closing remarks. So I didn't know if you wanted to add anything else, or if you wanted to like share where people can get in contact with you, or if you have like some resources on websites, like some good therapy websites or a good blog that you like that maybe you would want to suggest other people look to, any resources you want to give to people that like, hey, you should check this out, anything like that.
You know what though, honestly, and this is from more of like an urban perspective of things on my, I guess, agenda. I've been really watching Charlemagne and like how he interviews people, and I've noticed too, I became more of a bigger fan with him because he's been talking a lot about mental health. And I also follow this girl named Dr. Jess. I really like her. She's a psychiatrist and she's a Black woman, and she inspires me, and she's very young and stuff like that. Very, very, very educated, beautiful Black woman. And like, I look up to her in various ways when it comes down to what she's doing and stuff like that. So ask Dr. Jess on Instagram. I personally don't have my own Instagram to like with all that extra stuff, but like eventually I will get there. But for the moment, I'm just riding a wave, and I'm still learning from other people, and I'm still learning from my environment and things like that, just to be, help others have a better psychological well-being. I think that's my memo, and that's like my motto for the whole, my purpose, pretty much.
Yay, and I love that. And I feel like you are ringing the alarm to put this out there, you know what I mean? Like, people will look at you like, oh, she's young, she's hip, she's trendy like me, you know what I mean? I feel like people will be able to relate to you. And if they hear that you're talking about it, I feel like right now, you're breaking the stereotypes, or you're helping to break the stigma around, mental health and mental awareness, you know what I mean? So just to see more people of women and women of color in the position you're in, it's kind of like, breaking the barriers down. So we salute you. So yay.
You're amazing.
Mm-hmm. So thank you again, Yaye. This is Yaye Diallo, you guys. She is, hold on, you gotta get people's credentials, right? Hold on, let me wrap this up real good. So this is Yaye Diallo. She is a marriage and family therapist based in Los Angeles, California, and she gave you guys some good resources on some next steps, some next actions. And I really hope that you guys enjoyed this conversation on how to defeat the narcissist, not let him or her, see,
it takes two.
No narcissists allowed, but either way, like we learned today too, like the narcissist is a victim as well. So if you're the narcissist listening, it's a way out. And listen to this replay like a couple times, because we did drop a couple of gems. Yaye gave a couple things to listen to or to look up after this conversation. So I really hope you guys enjoyed. And this is episode 6 of Sis It's Just Not God's Best for You, with me, your host, Quetta Wilkes, and our special guest, Yaye Diallo. Well, thank you guys for joining.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right.